No Bull Motorsports presents the Goodies Dash Series. This week in the Goodies Dash Series, it is a Cancer Free 200 brought to you by Aegis Motorsports. Coming at you from Talladega Super Speedway, a 2.66 mile super speedway located just outside of Talladega, Alabama. And folks, before we go any further, a little bit about why we are here. Bailey Byrd was living in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, working and getting ready to go back to school. She was living a normal, happy life of a person her age, going to the beach, hanging out with friends, and enjoying her life. Until March 24th, 2013, when, at 21 years old, Bailey was diagnosed with juvenile granulosa cell tumor, a very rare form of ovarian cancer. After experiencing pain in her right side, Bailey's doctor sent her to the emergency room for further examination. After running a few tests, it was determined that she had a 9-centimeter mass laying on her right ovary and uterus. Surgery to remove the mass confirmed her family's worst fear, that the tumor was malignant. When the final pathology report came back, they learned that not only was the tumor malignant, but that the cancer had spread to the peritoneal lining in her pelvic area. After many prayers and consultations, it was decided that MD Anderson in Houston, Texas was where she needed to go for treatment. In July of 2013, Bailey made the trip to Houston and met with her doctor there. There is very little information and research on this type of cancer, and no proven cure for treatment. Bailey finished 4 cycles of BEP chemotherapy in October of 2013. The family and staff felt good that the chemo had worked. However, in February, at her 3-month checkup, the family was told they needed to go back to MD Anderson for a scan because Bailey's tumor markers were elevated. A couple of small cysts were found on her ovaries, but doctors were not too concerned. However, a week later, Bailey started experiencing severe pain in her abdomen and pelvic area. She was rushed back to MD Anderson to have surgery, only to discover that the cancer had come back and had spread throughout her pelvic area. On March 20th, 2013, at 22 years old, Bailey had to have a complete hysterectomy and her appendix and peritoneal lining removed. The Byrd family's worst fear had come true. The cancer came back and came back very aggressively. Bailey is now waiting to have a double stem cell transplant. She will be the first one with her type of cancer to have this. It is experimental and will mean the family will be in Houston 4 to 6 months. In the meantime, their insurance has denied the claim to pay for Bailey's first surgery where they discovered the cancer had returned. The insurance company claims it should have been performed outpatient. After many appeals from the Byrds and the hospital, it was denied, and the Byrds were informed they needed to pay for the surgery themselves. They are in the process of trying to raise $24,000 just to cover the surgery. Because Bailey's cancer came back so fast, she is in the fight of her life. There are not a lot of options with juvenile granulosa cell tumor. There is no cure, but we're all praying that Bailey will set the protocol and they will find the cure. Please join us in praying for complete healing for Bailey Byrd. A beautiful young lady who deserves our thoughts and prayers, as does anybody battling cancer. Knockout qualifying this time around. That's right, knockout qualifying, just like the big boys in NASCAR do. We got everybody out on the track at the same time for 2 sessions. Your 2 fastest guys on the track, surrounded by pretty much everybody else. But the fast time of the night went to number 91 of Nate Tretow, who was smart, along with John T. Mushing Jr. They drafted those fast guys up front and used that draft to post the fastest times of the night. Nate Tretow coming in the fastest with a 48.655. The 67 car did try his best to get up there and top that speed, but was unable to. He qualified second. But again, it was Nate Tretow, that number 91 Chevy Impala, posting a pole time of 48.655, which was exciting to watch. The second session went down smooth, but nobody was able to top that pole speed. So we went ahead and graded them up and got them ready to roll, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and everybody was excited for this benefit race for Bailey Byrd and the folks at cancerfreeze.net. And they rolled off the grid, and folks, we knew it was going to be an exciting one, and just how exciting, we had no idea. Coming down to the green flag, it was going to be awesome. And right off the bat, immediately on lap 1, we saw some strength out of the 67 car of John T. Mushing Jr., sponsored by the LSU Fighting Tiger football team. He jumps out to the lead, leaves the 44 of Landon Loper hanging, jumps out there and says, hey, I'm going to lead this first lap. But the Aegis Motorsports boys weren't going to have a whole bunch of that for very long. The racing was good, hard, and fast. As you see, the outside line, led by Loper, was trying to make something happen there. Later on, that would come into play. But for now, we're going to watch the number 91 use his Aegis Motorsports buddies back there to push him out in front of the number 67. On about lap 3, they ganged up on him and went by him on the outside. which shows the advantage that a multiple car team has when they're battling with those single car teams down there. Loper was coming up there in third, and he helped push those two guys on the outside, but they just kind of left him hanging there, and they dropped down to the inside there. And these battles would go on for a good 9 or 10 laps, trading back and forth between the 67, the 44, the 91 of Tree Towel, Welton back in the 79, but caution one flies on lap 12 when we have a really, really horrifying wreck. When Jared Como, number 10 car, got together with the 67 and out of the park he went. As you see from this in-car view, the 67 got some air too, but he wasn't anywhere nearly as high as Como, who wound up sitting out in the grandstands. Now, these two guys weren't able to get in the pits, unfortunately, and get their cars repaired to get back on the track. So they were our first retirees from the race at lap 12. We went back to racing after cleanup and immediately saw that it was just going to be more of the same from the Aegis boys. Tree Towel out front with Welton back second. Terzado down there in third, and it looked like the 07 car of Hartman was going to be bringing up fourth place. Green flag drops, and immediately Tree Towel jumps out front, and they get single file, but that does not last very long because this is Talladega. Why would you run single file? That's boring. We're going to go ahead and gang up on everybody here. The 07 of Hartman was pretty strong for a while there. He got out in front of Tree Towel in the 91, the 79. Terzado showed some strength with the 11 car coming up in there, and last week's winner, Nicholas Orth, poked his nose in. The 4 of Chrysler got on there, but caution number 2 flew on lap 22 when the 11 car got together with the 7 car of Terzado, the 11 being driven by Michael Wynn, and Terzado took a Jared Como-esque kind of ride, hits that outside retaining wall, up and over he goes, and out of the ballpark, folks. It's a home run. They were able to get it in their pits and get repairs, and we went back to green to see what else we could do with this field. The 07 leads them down. That's Hartman in the 07. Tree Towel on the outside. Welton back and Chrysler and Orth bringing up the top 5 there. Got Shiflett back there in the 18. Now these guys were just really racing hard, and it was clean racing, but unfortunately it doesn't last very long at Talladega. Caution number 3 flew at lap 31. This would turn out to be our mandatory caution, but first, the reason we were under caution, the 27 and the 18 got together and collected the 11 going down into turn 1. Looks like the 7 barely missed that crash. The 11 was just kind of tooling along on the inside there and gets collected by the 27. Now these 3 guys were able to get in and get their repairs under the mandatory caution. That's right, a mandatory caution in Dash Series. You got to come in, take 4 tires. You don't have to take fuel if you don't want to, but you do have to take those 4 tires. So the guys all came down pit road to the attention of their crews, decided to take a good deep breath, try and calm their nerves a little bit, and figure out how they're going to get to the end of this race without getting destroyed. The race off pit road was won by Nate Tree Towel in the 91, followed by the 44 of Loper, the 25 of Canale, the 79 of Wilson back, and the 4 of Krieg. Like I said, these guys were able to get in and get the repairs the ones that were in the wreck. So back to green flag racing we go. It's 91 leading them down to the line, 44, Canale in the 25, and Wilson back in the 79, followed by Krieg at your top 5. And racing we go, folks. This was good side-by-side racing, but unfortunately, the flag flies again, the yellow one on lap 41, when on the back stretch, the 31 gets upside down, the 4 is spinning, comes down and collects the 11, and I believe the 27 was involved in that one as well. The 11 car took a pretty hard hit. These guys were able to get back in the pits and get repaired, and we went back to green flag racing, and folks, it was still a very exciting race to watch. Tree Towel out front. We have 2, 3 wide going on back there in the back. Guys are just shuffling around for position, going down the back stretch, trying to keep up with that 91 car who was just unbelievably fast and smart out front. Now on the outside, he had some company in Welton back, Orth and Krieg in the 4, and that outside line would come into play later on. So we are got them coming down into 3, come into the tri-oval here, side-by-side racing there. Krieg kind of dropped back a little bit just to get a little bit of air. Thought maybe gather things up a little bit. But then caution number 5 flies on lap 53, and this one was pretty ugly too. We have multi-car pileup in 3 and 4. One guy upside down. The 11 went for a crazy, crazy ride, as you'll see here. He gets massive air, somersaulting, cartwheeling, whatever you want to call it, comes down his hood. These guys were able to get back into the pits and get their repairs and continue on to fight another day. Coming down to the green flag, we have a new leader. It's the 44 of Landon Loper, but he's got the 91 hot on his tail, followed by 25 with Peter Canale. And folks, I'll tell you what, that 25 made a pretty good show. This was only his second race, I believe, with the team or with the series. 7 of Julio Cesaro was in there, and off they go down the backstretch, fighting and gouging and trying to get themselves out front and get some of that clean air. The cars did seem to handle better in clean air. You see the 44 and 91 were duking it out there, kind of let everybody catch up to him, which led to our next caution at lap 61, I should say. When the 79 came down and touched 18's to bit, 18 got loose, came back up the track, took the 79 with him. They did what we like to call some synchronized spinning, which I am still waiting for that to become an Olympic sport. Anyway, the 79 comes back up the track, collects the outside wall a little bit, took some damage, but was able to get into the pits and get himself prepared. So we're going to go down to the green flag start with Shootout leading 44 on second place there, Krieg in third, and the 07 of Hartman in fourth. Now we thought this thing would go green to the end, and it looked like it just might do that. We had some good hard racing up front by these guys. As you can see, first through 6 was close, but there was a caution, number 7 on lap 67, when we had a multi-car pileup on the backstretch involving the 18, the 25, the 24, and the 7, and the 5, and the 44. And if I keep talking, we're going to lose everybody. But it set up a final lap shootout that I'm going to let the guys from No Bull Network 1, Ben Gilcrease and Andy Kessler, call this one.
Bailey, this last lap is for you.
Great restart by the top 6 guys right there, Ben, almost to tail as they head into turn number 1. Welsenbach on the outside with Trito on the inside. Here comes Zach Kreiser now, going to shut the door to the inside for the 79. Off of turn number 2, though, can he get him the push? Here comes the outside line now with the 07 Hartman, giving Welsenbach a huge run, a huge push, and they're drag racing down the backstretch.
I think Trito got too big of a run, and look at Loper. He puts it down on the apron. Kreiser has nowhere to go. He has to go high. Welsenbach and Hartman through turn number 4. It's just those 2 guys out front. Does the 4 behind them have a chance to catch him? Does Hartman step out? Here we go. The final time to the triumphal tonight. Hartman's there. The rest of the field is catching. Where does Trito go? Trito gets turned. They're still side by side. 3 wide at the line. Orth wins it by 41 thousandths of a second.
My goodness, what a finish. What an exciting finish to a great beneficial race. Orth, Hartman, Welsenbach, Kreiser, and Loper were your top 5 here at Talladega for the Cancer Freeze 200. And I tell you what, folks, that was it was an exciting race to watch and be a part of. Now remember, if you want to donate, please stop by cancerfreeze.net. There's information there on how you can go about donating and what you can do to be a part of this cause. You can go by www.noblemotorsport.com also to donate. Now remember, folks, you got to go fast, you got to turn left, because if you don't, it's going to hurt.